headlines for this week news at Islamic Finance. New Islamic reinsurance model created. Islamic finance and banking services on the rise. White House welcomes Sharia finance specialist. Assalamualaikum and a very good day to viewers of Capital TV's Islamic Finance program, the only Islamic finance program in the mainstream media. I am Shabana Mahmudul Hassan, bringing you the latest development and updates in the Islamic finance world, only at Islamic Finance at the capital. New Islamic reinsurance model created. A brand new Wadi'ah re-takaful model has been developed by Islamic finance researchers backed by the Malaysian Central Bank. The model is seen to be key in the effort to improve protection for Sharia insurers. The structure aims to address some of the Sharia objections to the popular Wakala, Mudaraba and hybrid models currently used by Islamic reinsurers who play a key role in the $14 billion takaful industry. Based on the contracts of Wakala and Wadi'ah Yad-Damana, the concept devised by the International Sharia Research Academy for Islamic Finance, ISRA, states that takaful players own the surplus from contributions paid into a fund. The Wadi'ah fund is owned by the takaful companies, so there is no issue of ownership, and with that you can resolve quite a number of other issues. ISRA Executive Director Muhammad Akram Laldin told Reuters by the telephone. Under the pure Wakala and Mudaraba models now used, there are differences in opinions as to who is entitled to the surplus in the funds, with some companies sharing it with participants, while others returning it to the participants only. Under the new model, takaful companies would contribute to a fund managed by an Islamic reinsurer. The reinsurer is paid an agent's fee and invests the fund or uses it for other purposes. The world's largest re-takaful company is ACR Re-Takaful Holdings Limited, owned by ACR Capital Holdings, the Dubai Group and Malaysian Sovereign Wealth Fund, Khazanah Nasional Berhad, with a paid-up capital of $300 million. Islamic finance and banking services on the rise. It has been reported that the demand for financial instruments that comply with Sharia-compliant finance has grown in recent years. Retail banks have responded, tailoring a range of Sharia-compliant products, including simple checking accounts and mortgage and car financing. According to the World Wealth Report 2012, released by Capgemini and RBC Wealth Management, the Middle East was the only region where wealth increased among individuals of high net worth, who are often defined as house with $1 million in investable assets. And while private bankers say that most of their clients are not trying yet to bank according to Sharia law, they say the market will surely evolve. These clients are very global in their outlook. They are aware of all the various investment opportunities, changing market conditions, and not all of these investment opportunities are yet Sharia compliant, said Samir Kale, a portfolio manager at Citi Private Bank. Only a subset of our clientele will really insist on Sharia-compliant products and be willing to forego some of the other investment vehicles that are out there. But Mr. Kale believes that from a product point of view, there are now much more sophisticated products available that can meet the need for compliance with Islamic law. For example, there is now a multitude of Sharia-compliant equity indexes that look at different geographies and sectors, and that itself is one of the indications of how the market is growing, he said. Wasim Akhtar Saifi, Global Head of Islamic Banking at Standard Chartered, said that private banking still has some way to go at catering to the needs of wealthy Muslims. In June, Standard Chartered Private Bank announced a suite of Islamic financial products available in London, Geneva, Dubai and Jersey, in the Channel Islands, with plans to extend this network to Singapore and Hong Kong. The gap between conventional and Islamic banking solutions has narrowed substantially, Mr. Saifi said. Muslim high net worth individuals are increasingly expecting Sharia compliance in managing their wealth. However, in most cases, their existing private banks, even if they are able to offer Sharia compliance, are able to do so only for a specific product or a specific structure. We have looked at it from a much wider perspective, Mr. Saifi added. The idea is not to structure customized solutions for a one-off client, but to offer a more systematic wealth management approach. Is Indonesia Asia's new economic golden child? After years of being known for inefficiency, corruption and instability, Indonesia is emerging from the global financial crisis with a surprisingly new reputation, economic golden child. The country's economy, the largest in Southeast Asia, grew at an annual rate of 6.2% in the second quarter of this year, data released on Thursday showed. That is an acceleration from 2009, when gross domestic product expanded 4.5%. The stock market hit a record high last week and has been among the best performing equity markets in Asia this year, rising more than 20% since January 1. Meanwhile, the rupiah has appreciated nearly 5% this year against the US dollar, among the strongest showings in Asia besides that of the yen. Foreign direct investment, which was held in check for years after the 1997 economic crisis in Asia, is also returning. The country had $5 billion in foreign direct investment in the second quarter of this year, a 51% rise from a year earlier, the Investment Coordinating Board in Indonesia said last week. The country is on track to attract more foreign investment this year than it did in 2008, when it lured in $14.87 billion. Such statistics have some here cautiously saying that the country, a Muslim-majority democracy and one of the world's most populous countries, could soon merit the kind. It is rich in natural resources like palm oil, copper and timber, commodities that are in great demand in China. The administration of President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono has won plaudits for reducing debt and has achieved some success fighting graft. Mr. Yudhoyono was resoundingly re-elected to a second 5-year term in 2009, and changes aimed at introducing more democracy have given power to local governments, where elections have been largely peaceful, orderly affairs. In one sense, Indonesia appears more attractive these days because much of the rest of the global marketplace looks so gloomy. Its low debt, high growth and a sense of optimism compare favorably with the mood of despondency in developed markets like the United States, Japan and Europe. Many believe that Indonesia's time has come again. In Asia, there is a feeling that after you invest in China and after you invest in India, where are you going to invest? Said Fauzi Ehsan, senior economist for Standard Chartered Bank in Indonesia. It will have to be Indonesia. It's a natural destination. Islamic finance in Kazakhstan. 12 months after Kazakhstan's law on Islamic finance and banking was established, a handful of local and international Islamic institutions have already come into the country. Looking ahead, the issuance of sukuk by Kazakhstan-based companies is expected to drive growth of the Sharia-compliant finance market. Fatah Finance, the nation's first brokerage specializing in Islamic finance, started work in March 2009, a month after the law was adopted. The firm has put together a team of around 15 professionals with experience in the stock market as well as Islamic finance and banking. Although the firm still works with conventional instruments, its main purpose is Islamic finance. Kazakhstan also has its first consultancy focused on Islamic finance, named as Kausar Consulting. Meanwhile, from the United Arab Emirates, Al Hilal Bank has already have an establishment in Kazakhstan and opened 2 further branches in Almaty and Astana in 2009. It is expected to focus on the industry, agriculture, real estate and tourism sectors. In May, Qatar Islamic Bank and Bahrain's Ithmar Bank also announced their intention to enter into Kazakhstan, though concrete plans haven't yet been announced. The new law is part of Kazakhstan's efforts to develop and diversify its financial infrastructure, establishing Almaty as a regional financial center. Chingiz Kanapyanov, Deputy Chairman of the Agency of the Republic of Kazakhstan on Regulation of Activities of the Regional Financial Center of Almaty, which pushed for the law's adoption, stresses to BNE that Islamic finance will exist alongside conventional finance in Kazakhstan. We are not switching the system completely, but would like to create another opportunity for both Kazakh and global players to invest in this country. As the first country of the Commonwealth of Independent States to introduce legislation on Islamic finance, Kazakhstan hopes to open up new investment opportunities for domestic players and to build new links with the Islamic world. According to Kanapyanov, interest from investors in the Middle East and Malaysia has been very strong. Islamic finance is still at a very early stage in Kazakhstan, and market participants acknowledge that it will take time for the market to grow. In the longer term, more new legislation is expected to be passed, allowing a wider range of Islamic financial products to be used and more institutions to be set up. Islamic finance is still in its infancy in Kazakhstan, and we need to develop this market, says Fatah Chairman Aidos Demashev. Now that the first steps have been taken, Kazakhstan has started collaborating with the Islamic Development Bank to draft a roadmap on Islamic finance and economic development. This will form a central part of the IDB's strategy in Kazakhstan and is expected to be announced imminently. White House welcomes Sharia finance specialist. President Obama has announced his appointment of Sharia finance specialist Samar Ali to serve as one of the 13 fellows of the White House. Ms. Samar Ali is an attorney who specializes on Islamic Sharia compliant finance and regularly advises clients on Islamic transactions, and was founding member of first U.S. delegation to the World Islamic Economic Forum. President Obama said in a statement that this year's White House Fellows are comprised of some of the best and brightest leaders in our country. I applaud their unyielding commitment to public service and dedication to serving their community. According to Samar Ali's biography posted on the White House website, she is responsible for counseling clients on mergers and acquisitions, cross-border transactions, Sharia-compliant transactions, project finance, and international business matters. The appointment of Ms. Ali is a step in religious tolerance and accepting and diversifying knowledge of the Islamic financial industry, which is set to reach over $1.5 trillion by 2012. Samar Ali has worked in Abu Dhabi at Hoven Lovells, and some of her tasks involved advising a Middle Eastern university in the potential establishment of a foreign aid, conventional and Sharia-compliant student loan program, and advising a Middle Eastern client in relation to a U.S. government subcontract matter. The company of Hoven Lovells said in a statement that our team members are at the forefront of developments in the Islamic finance industry. We help set standards for the sector. We have also advised on numerous first-of-their-kind transactions, such as the first convertible sukuk, the first equity-linked sukuk, the first Sharia-compliant securitization, the first international sukuk al-mudaraba and sukuk al-musharaka, the first sukuk buyback, and the first multilateral investment guarantee agency, guaranteed Islamic project financing. President of Indonesia, Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, said in a statement that Islamic banking should now be able to take a leadership position in the banking world. Islamic banks have been much less affected by the financial meltdown than the conventional banks for the obvious reason that Sharia banks do not indulge in investing in toxic assets and in leveraged funds. They are geared to supporting the real economy. Islamic bankers should therefore do some missionary work in the Western world to promote the concept of Sharia banking, for which many in the West are more than ready now. The acceptance of a Muslim Sharia finance expert can further diversify the industry and arouse interest from international markets and key financial players such as the USA, who may see the benefits and ethical methods of the Islamic finance and banking industry. If interest-free methods are adopted in mainstream countries, there may be less corruption from debt in the commercial finance industry. Sharia is already developing in the USA with a lawsuit that enlists the acceptance of Sharia-compliant businesses, accommodating the Sharia for the needs of Muslims and non-Muslims who want to follow Sharia-compliant ways of banking. Now let us toss to the Guest of the Week segment of Islamic Finance at the Capital.